Have you ever sat at your desk for 3 hours straight, reread the same page again and again, felt exhausted, and then realized the next morning that you barely remember anything? It's frustrating, isn't it? You tell yourself you're not disciplined enough, not smart enough, not focused enough. And yet, here's the strange part. In Japan, students routinely memorize more than 2,000 kanji characters and retain them for life. Even more confusing, have you ever noticed that some days you sleep 8 hours and still feel drained, while other days you sleep 5 hours and wake up surprisingly clear-headed? What if the problem isn't effort? What if it's rhythm? Most people believe that forgetting is a personal failure. You studied, you took notes, you highlighted sentences, and still your brain erased the information as if it never mattered. But forgetting is not a flaw. It's the brain's default behavior. Your brain is designed to discard information that isn't reactivated at the right time. If knowledge just flows in one direction, eyes to page, page to brain, it gets labeled as temporary, disposable, useless for survival. This is where the Japanese approach quietly differs. Instead of forcing more hours, they align daily habits with how the brain naturally stores energy and memory. Morning exposure to natural light. 10 minutes of light movement before mental work. Reviewing old material before learning something new. Eating until 80% full to avoid energy crashes. Sleeping in cycles. Not just chasing a number of hours. There's even research, often mentioned by my competitors, that shows just 10 minutes of light physical activity can increase recall by up to 20%, not by studying harder, but by preparing the brain. In Japan, learning isn't treated as a battle of willpower. It's treated as a rhythm, one that works with the brain instead of against it. And once you understand that rhythm, everything changes. In many Japanese cities, the day begins quietly. Students step outside early, not rushing, not scrolling, not mentally overloaded yet. They walk to school or the train station, feeling the morning air, letting natural light reach their eyes. This simple habit looks insignificant, but it's powerful. Morning light triggers a rise in cortisol, the hormone that helps you feel alert and focused. It also resets your internal clock, telling your brain, the day has started. It's time to be awake. Without this signal, your brain stays half asleep, even if you drink coffee or sit at your desk for hours. This is why so many people feel foggy when they study immediately after waking up indoors. Japanese students often combine this light exposure with 10 minutes of gentle movement, walking, stretching, or cycling. According to studies often referenced in learning research, this short burst of activity can increase memory recall by around 20%, not because it makes you smarter, but because it wakes the brain's retrieval systems. Then comes a critical detail most people skip. Before learning anything new, they briefly recall what they learned yesterday, not rereading, not highlighting, but actively asking, what do I remember? This activates the brain's memory pathways before adding new information. It's like warming up your muscles before exercise. Even the environment matters. A tidy desk, a cup of tea, a repeated morning ritual. These small signals tell the brain, this is a focused state. Learning doesn't start with effort. It starts with alignment. Most people believe learning means putting information in. So they read, and reread, and highlight, and watch the same video again. It feels productive, but it's mostly an illusion. The brain doesn't grow stronger when information goes in. It grows stronger when information is pulled out. This is the core idea behind active recall, a method quietly used by many Japanese students without labeling it as anything special. After studying, they close the book and ask themselves simple questions. What were the key points? Can I explain this without looking? Where do I feel uncertain? When you struggle to remember and even get things wrong, something powerful happens. The brain marks that information as important. Neural pathways thicken, memory stabilizes. This is known as the testing effect, and it's one of the strongest findings in learning science. But recall works best when it's spaced. Instead of cramming, Japanese learners often revisit material in short intervals: day 1, day 2, day 4, day 7. Each review is brief, uncomfortable, and active. This timing catches the brain right before forgetting, when strengthening memory is easiest. Layered on top of this is Kaizen, the philosophy of improving just 1% each day. No marathon study sessions, no dramatic motivation speeches. One new kanji, one recalled concept, one short explanation written in your own words. Some follow a simple 40-10 rhythm: 40 minutes of focused work, 10 minutes of rest. And instead of quitting after a bad day, they follow one quiet rule: never miss twice. Progress isn't loud, it's rhythmic. Sleep is where learning is finished. During the day, your brain collects fragments of information. At night, it decides what stays and what disappears. This process happens through repeating sleep cycles, each lasting about 90 minutes, moving from light sleep to deep sleep, and finally, into REM sleep. Here's the paradox that confuses so many people. If you wake up in the middle of a deep or REM phase, you can feel heavy, foggy, and exhausted, even after 8 hours in bed. But if you wake up near the end of a sleep cycle, you may feel surprisingly refreshed after just 5 or 6 hours. This is why the question isn't, how many hours did you sleep? It's, where in the cycle did you wake up? Japanese sleep habits quietly respect this rhythm. Many people aim for consistent bedtimes and waking times, allowing their bodies to complete full cycles instead of forcing sleep with alarms and late-night stimulation. Another subtle habit supports mental clarity: hara hachi bu, eating until you're about 80% full. Heavy meals late in the day steal energy from the brain and create that familiar food coma. Lighter eating helps maintain alertness and improves sleep quality. Just before bed, some students spend 5 to 10 minutes recalling what they studied, not reviewing notes, just mentally replaying key ideas. During sleep, the brain consolidates this information, strengthening memory without extra effort. Phones are dimmed, lights are softened, the evening slows down. Learning doesn't end when you close your book. It continues while you rest. Most people approach learning as a constant struggle. They say, "I'm trying to study. I'm forcing myself to focus. I just need more motivation." But this language hides a deeper problem. In Japan, long-term progress is rarely built on motivation. It's built on identity and systems. The shift is subtle but powerful, from doing learning to being a learner. When you see yourself as someone who studies when motivated, every bad day feels like failure. But when you see yourself as a fast learner who follows a rhythm, your actions become automatic. One habit that reinforces this identity is teaching what you learn. Explaining a concept out loud in writing, or even to an imaginary audience, forces clarity. Many students write short summaries, post reflections online, or help classmates. This isn't about showing off. It's about solidifying memory. Another overlooked element is silence. Between study sessions, Japanese routines often include moments of stillness: walking, cleaning, sitting quietly. These gaps give the brain space to reorganize information. Think of it like a tree. The most important growth happens underground, where no one sees it. Roots expand before branches appear. Learning works the same way. When you stop chasing intensity and start respecting rhythm, focus becomes calmer, memory becomes deeper, and studying stops feeling like a fight. So let's take a step back. The reason you forget so quickly isn't because you're lazy or incapable. It's because your habits are out of sync with how your brain actually works. Japanese learning culture shows us a different path: morning light and gentle movement to wake the brain, active recall instead of passive rereading, spaced repetition rather than cramming. Kaizen, improving just 1% at a time, eating until 80% full to protect energy, sleeping in full cycles so memory can consolidate. And finally, shifting identity from someone who tries to study to someone who learns naturally. You don't need to change everything. Tomorrow morning, try just one thing. Step outside for 10 minutes before you study. Then recall yesterday's material before opening anything new. Small rhythm, big change. And ask yourself this: what kind of learner do I want to become?